But we might be in big trouble at the start of FC25 for many reasons. But for the first reason being we'll talk about in this video today. Second reason being EA's making the game. So that's never a great start. We've got evolution glitches in September. I think this is why EA wanted to test out having 2 active Evos at the same time because they know it's probably not going to work flawlessly. And they were right. We have September glitches. Some more rating stuff too. There's not like a ton to talk about today, so I'll probably read a lot of your comments today. Depending on how much time we have left, I do tend to yap even when there's nothing to fucking talk about. So I appreciate you all being here, of course. Now, I also want to start off with, well, one, if you guys would like to buy coins, you can go to mmoxp.com. The link is in the description. You can use my code JFC at checkout for a 5% discount. PSA that people think that all these Evos give some sort of FC25 reward. Only one that does is this one, the Road to FC25. No other Evo gives any FC25 rewards, by the way. I was seeing people say that on Twitter, and no, it's not true. But okay, on to the first thing I want to talk about, which was this game is coming to an end, right? And, you know, we've had futties for a month and a half now, I want to say. It's been like a month and a half at least. And it does feel to me, just like this whole year has really post Team of the Year, especially, just constant recycled content. Every week we get the same stuff, really. Just maybe it's slightly better some weeks, and other weeks it can even stay the exact same. I just don't understand why we get so much recycled content, and I think that really takes away from people's enjoyment of the menus in this game. And I think that hopefully next year we see, once again, a less is more approach. I think they oftentimes think, okay, if we release 8 SBCs, but they're all predictable, they're all the same ones we do every single week, that's not as interesting or as fun to most people as a 3 really interesting unique SBCs for that week would be. Obviously, ignore the exact number. I'm just throwing hypotheticals out there. But if it wasn't for the exchanges, the SBC section would have been dead months ago. It would have been so beyond dead. And the exchanges were new this year. An innovative idea. I mean, it wasn't an innovative idea. It was something we've been wanting for quite some time, but they implemented it, and I want to give them credit for that. I think just a little more creativity in SBCs would be awesome. I think one of the reasons they can't do that is because the power curve is moving so quickly. What can you release in SBCs that makes a lot of sense for a long time? What are the card types that stay in the power curve for the longest? Team of the Years? You're not going to release a Team of the Year pick right when Team of the Year ends. You're not going to do that. Team of the Season picks are in FUT champs, so they can't release that in SBCs. Like, it's just, they move the power curve so quickly, it makes it so that it's hard for them to make super original and unique content in SBCs, because they're probably sitting there like, what do we do again? How do we make a good gamble player pick SBC right now when everything's below the power curve or 6 million coins? It's not easy, but you did that yourself, so don't blame us. And also, one of the big things I want to talk about in this video today was that Erling Haaland is going to win the August Player of the Month award. You might say, well, that doesn't mean anything because August Player of the Month, obviously, the game's not out until September 20th or whatever the day exactly is. Well, last year, James Maddison was the August Player of the Month, and he was one of the first SBCs released on FC24. Could Erling Haaland actually be the Player of the Month this month? I think he's going to be. Will he be released? There's a chance. I think that, you know, if they know it's Erling Haaland, they might say, well, we're actually not going to release it this year because it's such a great player. But I also low-key think EA might not think this card would be too game-breaking if it had Acrobat Plus and 3-star, 3-star with these stats. If it's +1s on pace and shooting and dribbling, would it be that insane? It's going to be very good still. The thing with Haaland, actually, is he doesn't even have any aerial at all. There's no base aerial. There's no aerial plus. Obviously, he has Acrobat Plus. So I actually think there's a chance this card could be released. It made 2 million coins plus, obviously, but I just want to point that out. That would be a hell of a way to get people to spend money immediately by releasing an Erling Haaland. Don't take it off the table that we could actually see this card. We saw August Player of the Month last year. It could happen. Okay, and also random ratings news here. I really want to talk about one thing, that's Casemiro today. Here are all the slowest gold cards, though. You got Casemiro, Busquets, Witsel, Blind, and Matic. No surprises there. I was seeing people on Twitter saying, I can't believe that Casemiro was ever talked about as an elite footballer or talked about as this or that in his Real Madrid days. I'm like, guys, some players just age really terribly or really quickly. It can happen in the blink of an eye. You are just washed up. Casemiro is washed up. Let's not act like the man wasn't an elite DM for like 5 years. Let's not act like when he first joined Man United, he wasn't also elite for a little bit there. I feel like football discourse sometimes is becoming more into what NBA discourse discourses on Twitter a lot of the time, where it's just like everything's black and white. Your player's either the best or the worst, or he was never good, or he was always great. It's tiring. Casemiro was elite. Okay, let's not act like he wasn't, but yes, I mean, Jesus Lord have mercy, he's gotta step away. Also, a couple new playstyle pluses here. Alvarez has press proven plus, which the players we saw in my old video, if you were here for that, I talked about how there were some players in head-to-head that had new playstyle pluses or different playstyle pluses in head-to-head that they didn't have at the start of FC24, so they don't have them in Ultimate Team. Alvarez was one of them, and he gained press proven plus in like January or something like that, and he's now got it for next year. So we'll know now that when next year comes around, if we see players with new playstyle pluses, they're probably going to have those playstyle pluses in next year's game. We'll get a little bit sneak peek early on what those cards look like. And yeah, here's the EA tweet saying they know that the attacking fullback Evo was broken. You've got the replies clowning him again. Just let it go, bruh. It's over. And then also, I did not mention that if you have the attacking fullback Evo active, every other evolution as well does not count, so you'll have to deal with that too. Okay, as you guys know, I always try and pick out a tweet I think is interesting that I want to talk about, and one of these cards was free, and one regularly costs over 500k on the market. How times have changed. And this is that Future Stars Arthur, and then this Evo Arthur is 99 rated now. Okay, I'm sure you guys can immediately tell where I'm going with this. What comparison is Future Stars to Evolutions in September? All right, that's a terrible comparison, but yes, it is true. Times have changed, but the problem is now I don't think EA think they can go back off of 95 plus rated cards in Future Stars. And we're talking this Future Stars Arthur card in February when they release this card, or late January, whenever it's going to be. If the card next year had this stats, it would be terrible. Obviously, the power curve moves so much quicker now than it ever used to. Can they go back from that, though? I worry that they're never going to, because they're like, well, we went so far. People are going to think that every card sucks now. We're not going back. So I don't actually think we might not ever see anything like that again until we see just like base gold cards being lower in general. Players just they just start with lower ratings. But okay, let's read your comments now. Desai says, isn't anyone else annoyed that we've had the same best of batch for 4 weeks in a row now? I know the futties cards have changed each week, but there's still so many non-futties cards that have not been released. VVD, Saka, Saliva, FDJ, Haji, Palmer, Leao, etc. At this point, I've packed every card in the batch at least 4 times. This is another one of the problems with you move the power curve so much that if you don't release all of the cards that are half decently in the power curve, people are going to pack the same ones over and over again, even the Dinos and stuff like that, because those cards are in the power curve, and there's such a select few of them that are in the power curve. You might even be trying to pack 1 or 2 cards right now, and that's it for the whole game, like whole rest of the game, which you might have been doing for the last 2 weeks, like last 6 weeks of the game. It's another one of those issues with, oh yeah, there's only 10 icon cards right now that actually are in the power curve and are insane. If you pack them all or have most of them that are gonna be like negligible, then it's kind of oops. There's no point in grinding the menus right now. If we had a lot more variety of options on cards, it wouldn't be like that. And I always point out negative comments to create good, entertaining content. But I want to say all the positive comments, I read them all, and I love you so much. Flip says, "Hey JFC, fill in the blank. Oh my, EA just made the I'll be honest, I don't know. It just made the bag, maybe. They always making the bag. So is there a joke I'm missing here? Am I an idiot? Groove Locks says, to be fair, it seems like a lot of FC players have been playing 10 years in a row. Everything gets stale after such a long time. I was playing COD back in the day, and 3 years in a row, it's the exact same game. At least EA is trying with play styles, etc. It's not as bad for someone that just started playing. I think you're right. For someone who just started playing, it's probably crazy cool. And I think one of the reasons that I think it's not necessarily completely comparable to COD is that FC or FIFA is tied to football, right? It's tied to a real life sport that, let's be honest, most of us, the passion for football, like that doesn't just go away. Like the Premier League doesn't get stale after a few years, right? I think that helps a lot, and that's why it differentiates a little bit from COD. I still do think, though, it can get stale if you play only FC or FIFA, and that's it. So I always say, play different games too. Have a second game to play. It's much easier to play this game and just kind of enjoy what it is and not be so bent out of shape about all the flaws in it when you play it a lot, but it's not your only game that you play. So remember that I prefer myself to, I play FC when I feel like it. If I'm not feeling it at all, I'm just going to play something else. Have another game close to you, and it'll help with the staleness too. And I thought this is a really interesting comment from Aiden Co. I won't read the whole thing out to you, but he does say basically, the gameplay, absolutely shit, do not get me wrong, but he does want to take a moment to appreciate how difficult it is to make a football sim as accurate as FC24 is. You can read through it all if you want to. The last sentence, though, it's just that they need to keep working hard to improve it, which they haven't really been doing. And I totally agree with you. I think that there is a lot of credit that should be given to EA when it comes to certain animations. And there's this game is filled with thousands and thousands of animations, and that's hard to do. However, all of that becomes kind of null and void when you have a problem in your game that you don't even know the genesis of and you don't know the origin for, when you have gameplay that is delayed, right? Even EA doesn't know why that's happening, and we don't know why it's happening. It's been happening for a decade. I would be more inclined to feel that empathy a little bit and kind of, well, it's more like sympathy, be more sympathetic towards their cause when they didn't have this delay problem that if you hop into a game right now, you could feel it right now. And it's not intended to be there unless there's a system implemented that they've been hiding from us for years, or it's accidentally deployed, right? That's always a possibility, but that is an issue. It does say the input delay system is like almost unavoidable. I think that sure, to a certain very, 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 very microscopically small percent, yes, but also we've all had good and bad gameplay. If we had that good, smooth, crisp gameplay, there would not be these complaints, right? Or obviously we'd have complaints, but it would not be to the same level. So we know they're capable of giving us that good gameplay. It's not like we never get it, which is why it makes things more frustrating that we don't get it consistently. So I want to say, yes, is it challenging to make a football simulator with thousands of animations, unique players and body types and all this stuff? It is ambitious and it is hard, but you also make billions of dollars off of us, gambling and all. And we see the good gameplay. You have problems in your game that you don't even know why they're there. So that's where my sympathy sort of falls adrift. And we'll end it with this. Fraud Zone himself says something huge is coming. Fire emoji. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. The jokes write themselves. Not me, though. I'm more mature than that. I'm way more mature. And also, if you made it this far, ass emoji in the comments, okay? In September, if you made it to the end of this video, you are the real MVP. Love y'all. Peace.